If you ever watched a player riding an epic dragon or mystical beast in World of Warcraft and wondered, what is that and how can I get one? You're in the right place. These are mounts. They're not just for show. They help us get around faster, showcase our collections, and complement our transmog. Hi, I'm High Value Joe, and in this beginner's guide, I'll be teaching you everything you need to know about mounts, how to obtain them, enhance their abilities, and showcase your favorites. Make sure to stick around till the end, where I showcase the most useful mounts any player should have in their arsenal. Mounts are divided into three broad categories. Ground mounts, which can be used, as the name suggests, on the ground, and are mostly used in dungeons, arenas, and battlegrounds. Flying mounts, with which you can leave the shackles of gravity behind and take to the skies to reach areas previously inaccessible. With the release of Dragonflight expansion, a new way to fly was introduced. Before, flying was kinda like having a ground mount, except you can also go up. But with the dragon riding mounts, we now also have dynamic flying. Dynamic flying makes flying more engaging since you have to thrust forward or up and steer your mount to keep the momentum going. Dynamic flying is currently only locked to the dragon riding mounts, but when the War Within pre-patch hits, more mounts will have this option enabled. And don't worry, you can always choose the style of flying you prefer. Dynamic flying is the fastest way to get around, but it has a bit of a learning curve to it. It's also my preferred way of flying since it makes it a lot more engaging. We also have water mounts, which, as you have probably guessed, make you move faster in water, and they're useful to have if you ever have to do any quests or other activities in water.
Not another speeding ticket. I'll fight it in court, but I don't think they're gonna accept gotta go fast as a medical condition.
The way mount riding works in World of Warcraft is that it's a passive ability, which you learn automatically. It used to be that you had to go to a trainer and pay gold to learn it, but it's now automatic and free. Upon hitting level 10, you'll be able to ride ground mounts at 60% speed. At level 20, you become more experienced and can ride them at 100% speed. This can be enhanced, but we'll cover how later. Level 30 lets you ascend to the skies and pick up your first flying mount, which you can fly at 150% speed. And finally, at level 40, we unlock our full potential and can ride flying mounts at 310% speed. The percentages don't really matter that much, just look at them as a bigger number means I go faster. Dynamic flight, or dragon riding, is unlocked in Dragon Isles and is out of scope for this video. Very soon, it will also be available for more mounts and won't be tied to the Dragonflight expansion. So if you want, I can make a video about it later.
Kajita's wares, if you have coin.
We now know more about mounts and why we would want to have them. But how do we get them? In general, there are 6 major ways of acquiring mounts. The first way to get them is to buy them from vendors. All throughout Azeroth, there are different vendors that sell you different mounts. You can look up who sells a mount on Wowhead or in-game in the Mount Journal. Now, not all vendors will want to sell you the mount straight up. Some are tied to a reputation with a certain faction, or maybe you have to get a specific item or currency to be able to buy it. Going over all the different vendors, currencies, and reputations is way too much for this video. So if there's a particular mount you want to get, you can just look up a guide for it on YouTube, or you can let me know and I'll make one for you. Mounts are also often tied to different achievements. A bunch of these are tied to raids and dungeons and require you to complete certain challenges. If a mount is rewarded from an achievement, it will clearly state which one that is, and you can then look up a guide for it online. If you don't want your hand held, you can also go from the in-game achievement tab and figure out what you need to do from there. Quests are also a great way to get all sorts of mounts. Often, they're a final reward from a long quest chain. Sadly, some of these quest chains are seasonal and can't be acquired after the quest is no longer available. Same as the previous 2 examples, you can look up which quest rewards a mount and find a guide for it. But the quests are usually straightforward enough once you get them started. Drops from rare mobs or bosses are also one of the ways that mounts can be acquired. This means that when you kill a mob, it has a chance to contain the mount when you loot it. Again, look up which mobs you have to kill for a specific mount you want. The drop chance for such mobs can vary wildly, from 100% to like 0.5% for the more elusive mounts out there. Some mounts can also be crafted by profession. Here, the only thing you have to deal with is usually gold, as there aren't any special requirements you need. You just need the recipe and the components required to craft the mount. Since not everyone will have 10 different characters with different combinations of professions, the next way to acquire mounts makes getting the profession mounts a breeze, if you have the coin that is. The auction house contains both profession crafted mounts and mounts that are dropped from mobs that aren't bind on pickup. Bind on pickup is an item attribute that means that you can't trade the item to anyone after you pick it up. So if you have the gold, you can buy whatever you want. There is also the black market auction house, but that is a can of worms that we're keeping closed for this episode.
He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die!
If you're in a capital city or somewhere else in the world of Azeroth and see a player with a really cool mount you wish to have, you can click on a player and check their buffs to figure out which mount they're using. When you know the name of the mount, you can look it up in the mount journal, where you can then see how you can obtain it, and if that doesn't clear things up, you can always just search for a guide on how to obtain it on Google.
You have my soul. And you have my bow. And my axe.
Mount equipment was added back in the Battle for Azeroth expansion. It allows you to equip special items in your mount equipment slot in the mount journal. This equipment then gives you special buffs when using your mount, like making it 20% faster or preventing you from getting dazed while riding. But the most useful equipment to have on is the one that lets you walk on water. That is either the Angler's Water Striders, which can be bought from Net Pagel of the Anglers in Mists of Pandaria, or the inflatable mount shoes, which can be bought from the auction house. The inflatable mount shoes can be gotten anywhere since you can buy them from the auction house, but the Angler's Water Striders are much cheaper, with the catch being that you have to go all the way to Pandaria to get them. I would recommend going for the Angler's Water Striders, but doing so after reaching level 30, as that will make getting to the Anglers a lot easier.
A fine addition to my collection.
The Mount Journal is your go-to tab in the collection menu, where you can view all your obtained and unobtained mounts. It features a mount equipment slot, allowing you to equip special items for buffs that we discussed earlier. You can easily select and drag mounts to your action bars for quick access. Additionally, you can mark your favorite mounts by right-clicking on them, enabling you to summon a random favorite mount with the click of a button. Each mount in the journal includes flavor text and its source of acquisition. While the journal provides basic information, you may need to consult external guides for more detailed acquisition methods. Keep in mind that some mounts may be faction-specific, indicated by Alliance or Horde emblems. For example, mounts marked with the Alliance emblem are exclusive to Alliance characters and vice versa for Horde. Such mounts are quite a rarity these days though. Okay, now that you know all there is to know about mounts, I would just like to highlight 5 of the most useful ones you can get before you go off on your mount collecting journey. The first one is the Traveler's Tundra Mammoth, which can be obtained in Old Dalaran in Northrend. The mount has a vendor and a blacksmith so that you can get rid of your trash items and repair your gear anywhere you can mount up, which is insanely useful. It costs 20k gold, which used to be a lot but can be obtained pretty easily now. You can get to Old Dalaran by going to your faction portal room and use the portal to Dalaran located in the Crystal Song Forest. The second one is the Reigns of the Poseidus, which can be bought on the NA auction house for around 5k and on the EU one for around 2k. This is the easiest water mount you can find and will help you out greatly if you ever have to do anything in water. And with it costing so little, I think it's a no-brainer. The Sky Golem is an engineering mount, which just means that it's made by the engineering profession and can be bought in the auction house. It's a flying mount and allows you to pick up herbs while staying mounted, which means you'll be really efficient if you want to farm them. Mounts like this used to be a lot more important, but a lot of the times the current expansion has a way to stay mounted while gathering, so I don't think it's as useful as it once was. The Grand Expedition Yak is similar to the Tundra Mammoth, with the difference being that the Yak also has a transmog vendor on board. It's a bit more expensive at 120k gold and is not as required as the Mammoth, but it's still very useful. It can be bought from Uncle Big Pocket in Kunlai Summit in Mists of Pandaria. To get to Pandaria, just use the portal to the Jade Forest located in your faction's portal room. And the most useful mount of them all, the mighty Caravan Brutosaur, introduced in the Battle for Azeroth expansion, features a traveling auction house. And with it, you can completely move away from the cities and set up shop anywhere you want. There is a catch though. It's no longer available from a vendor, it can only be bought from the black market auction house. And even then, the price for it is very steep and you probably won't be able to afford it anytime soon. That's it. You now know the basics of mounts, from understanding the different types, how to equip them with useful equipment, to figuring out which ones you want and where to get them. Collecting and showcasing mounts is a significant part of World of Warcraft that many players enjoy. With so many mounts out there, collecting them all will keep you busy for years. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any suggestions or would like to share your favorite mounts, please leave a comment below. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like, and if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.